I want to talk to you today about Thérèse de Lisieux, one of the most beloved saints of the Catholic Church, also affectionately known as the Little Flower. We'll explore her path from a young girl in France to becoming a symbol of love and spirituality known worldwide. When discussing the biography of Saint Therese de Lisieux, it's important to not only recount the facts of her life, but also capture the spiritual essence that drove her actions and beliefs. Let's delve into her story. To understand Thérèse, we must first understand the family and era into which she was born. Thérèse Martin entered the world as the youngest child in a deeply pious family. Her parents, Louis and Zélie Martin, were canonized as saints themselves, offering us a unique glimpse into the nurturing ground of her spirituality. The family atmosphere was suffused with love and religious fervor, setting the stage for Thérèse's own spiritual journey. But her childhood was not without its trials. The loss of her mother when Thérèse was just 4 years old plunged her into a period of emotional turmoil and sensitivity. This loss had a profound effect on her, shaping her relationship with the divine. She turned to the Virgin Mary for maternal comfort, a poignant moment which Thérèse describes as the smile of the Virgin, which she perceived as a direct communication from Mary to her in her distress. This encounter can be seen as a defining moment, where Thérèse found celestial love to fill the void left by her mother's death. As Thérèse matured, her desire for the religious life intensified. Despite her young age and fragile health, she was resolute in her desire to enter the Carmelite convent, seeking special permission from the Bishop of Bayeux and even appealing to Pope Leo XIII. Her determination was rewarded, and at 15 she entered the cloistered life at the Carmel of Lisieux. Within the walls of the convent, Thérèse embarked on a path that was both ordinary and extraordinary. Her life in Carmel was marked by the rhythms of prayer and community living. Despite her young age, she was profoundly perceptive about the human condition and had an innate understanding of the way to union with God through love and humility. Thérèse's spiritual maturity was evident in her willingness to embrace suffering. She once wrote, "I have reached the point of not being able to suffer anymore because all suffering is sweet to me." This paradoxical embrace of suffering as a path to joy shows her profound spirituality. Thérèse's life was a brief one. She died at the age of 24. In her last years, she battled tuberculosis, a suffering that she bore with remarkable joy and patience. Her last words, "My God, I love you," encapsulate the essence of her spiritual mission, to love God and trust in Him completely. Her legacy was magnified through her autobiography, which was published posthumously. It is through Story of a Soul that Thérèse's spirituality was disseminated. This seminal work offers an account of her little way and her profound insights into spiritual childhood, her belief in the power of approaching God with the heart of a child. Thérèse's story is not one of outward adventure or historic achievement. It's a narrative of internal growth and spiritual discovery. It's a reminder that a life need not be long to be meaningful, and that sainthood is not reserved for those who perform conspicuous miracles, but is accessible to anyone who approaches life with a heart full of love. Before we move on, let's reflect on Thérèse's early departure from this world and the spiritual maturity she exhibited at such a young age. How does Thérèse's embrace of her suffering speak to us today? And how might her final act of love influence our own spiritual journey? Thérèse's spirituality was not one of grand gestures or severe asceticism. Instead, she proposed the little way, a path of simplicity and joy, finding holiness in the mundane tasks of everyday life. She believed that it was not the magnitude of our actions, but the love with which they were performed that matters to God. Let me share with you a profound but simple quote from Thérèse. "Miss no single opportunity of making some small sacrifice, here by a smiling look, there by a kindly word, always doing the smallest right, and doing it all for love. In these words lies the essence of the little way." She understood the language of love to be universal, whether one is a cloistered nun or a person leading an ordinary life. As we pause here to reflect on Thérèse's early life and her spiritual insights, I invite you to ponder on the small acts that you can perform with great love in your daily lives. How might we all embrace the little way in our interactions and responsibilities? Ladies and gentlemen, let us now turn the pages of Thérèse's inner life through her writings, which give us a window into her soul. The world came to know the depth of her spirituality posthumously through her autobiography, Story of a Soul, a collection of her writings including her letters and last conversations. This was not a theological treatise, but a narration of her life and spiritual journey, characterized by her little way of trusting Jesus to make her holy in her devotion to love above all things. Thérèse had a remarkable way of expressing profound spiritual truths with charming simplicity. Her words continued to touch the hearts of many, from theologians to the lay faithful, from those in the cloister to those in the bustle of urban life. Therese's teachings in The Little Way emphasize an accessible spirituality. One need not accomplish great feats, but rather do small things with great love. As we consider her enduring influence, we must speak of her remarkable impact on the Church. Just 28 years after she died, she was canonized by Pope Pius XI, a testament to how quickly and deeply her spiritual message spread. But her legacy didn't just stop at her canonization. In 1997, Pope John Paul II declared her a Doctor of the Church, a title reserved for those whose writings have greatly served the doctrine of the Christian faith. She is one of the youngest, and only 4 women to be accorded this honor. Thérèse is a Doctor of the Church not because she studied theology or obtained degrees, but because her life and writings offer a clear and insightful understanding of God's love and mercy. Through her little way, Thérèse showed that sanctity is attainable for everyone. Saint Therese is the patron saint of missions, although she never left the convent after joining it. She believed that as long as she had love in her heart, she could be a missionary from within the convent walls. Her patronage is celebrated, showing that one's physical location is not as important as the intent and love one puts into their spiritual work. It's important to reflect on why Thérèse remains a modern saint for our times. In a world that often values the big, loud, and dramatic, Thérèse's life is a countercultural reminder that greatness can be found in humility, quietness, and the ordinary. As we navigate our fast-paced lives, Thérèse invites us to slow down and see the value in the small moments, to practice patience and to perform acts of kindness with deep love. Her message is not just for the religious. It is universal, transcending all walks of life.